Just before noon, on September 30th, 1944, a twin-engine C-47 Skytrain cargo aircraft of the U.S. Army Air Force's 27th Air Transport Group descended through an early fall rainstorm toward Le Bourget Airport, 9 miles northeast of Paris. The plane's 2-hour flight from London's Hendon Aerodrome had been uneventful, save for 2 uncomfortably close bursts of anti-aircraft fire loosed by jittery Allied gunners as the aircraft crossed the French coast near Dieppe. The historic Le Bourget, where Charles Lindbergh received a tumultuous welcome on the conclusion of his transatlantic flight 17 years earlier, had been heavily bombed by the Allies since falling under German control in 1940. Retaken by elements of the French 2nd Armored Division in late August 1944, the field was hurriedly put back into operation by U.S. Army engineers. Within days of its recapture, Le Bourget had become a vital hub for the USAAF Air Transport Command European Division's cargo and passenger flights between Britain and newly liberated areas of France. Though still extensively damaged, the field's iconic Art Deco terminal was soon nearly as busy as it had been before the 1939 outbreak of war. On this damp September day, the newly arrived C-47 taxied to the main ramp, a vast area of concrete already crammed with other aircraft taking on or disgorging people and material. Even before the transport's propellers stopped turning, crew members opened the 7-foot-wide, 2-section door that took up much of the Skytrain's left side after the wing, and ground personnel backed a 6-wheeled, 2.5-ton truck up to the opening. As troops began offloading the aircraft's cargo, cases of rations, medical equipment, and boxes of blood plasma bound for forward field hospitals and aid stations, a dozen passengers began disembarking via a narrow metal ladder placed against the forward section of the open side door. The new arrivals included a group of civilian reporters who clambered into the covered rear cargo area of a Dodge quarter-ton weapons carrier for the ride to the terminal, and several senior officers. As the latter were being whisked off in 2 military sedans, the C-47's last 2 passengers descended the ladder. Both were wearing standard U.S. Army field uniforms, complete with web belts, puttees, and steel helmets. A sharp-eyed observer, however, would have noted several oddities about the men's attire. First, while the right collar of each man's shirt bore a major's gold oak leaf, their left collars were devoid of the standard insignia denoting their service branch affiliation. Moreover, the men's field jackets had no unit patch, and the duffel bags tossed down to them from the Skytrain lacked the usual stenciled name and serial number. Strangest of all, each man's web belt carried a decidedly non-military holster. Rather than the usual large brown leather version meant to accommodate the standard Army-issue M1911 45 caliber automatic pistol, the men wore smaller, fast-draw holsters bearing Smith & Wesson model 10 38 caliber revolvers.